Morning, everybody.
Hey,
Morning.
How's everybody doing? See a lot of new faces in here today, which is awesome. For those of you who don't know me, and I'm going to give it a couple minutes before we really jump into this. I'm Johnny Downie. I'm one of the mentors. Been with Cornerstone since almost a year ago. Started mentoring in January of last year, or actually of this year. And I'm a firefighter from the Chicago area. I'm currently laid up because I broke my leg while on duty. So I'm about 2 months into this. Um, so I am relegated to my couch and doing a lot of the Zooms for Cornerstone, which is awesome. Um, I do a lot of the group trainings like today, do the one-on-ones, do custom trainings for Cornerstone. So this is the Q&A, the morning Q&A, where it's your chance to answer any questions that you may have in a group setting. I love these group settings because not only do I learn from you guys, but we can learn from each other um, by asking the questions. And then if there happens to be no questions, um, I'll cover some stuff, that you guys may not know. Um, all right. And if you don't want to speak, you can just throw something in the chat. I'll monitor chat too, and then we'll go from there. So, with that said, I know one of the Lisas in here today had a question on Facebook. Um, we can start off with that, or if anybody else wants to start off, go ahead. Brittany, can you elaborate? Like what do we use to build a quote, or because
Yeah,
some of
so
the
like what is okay, so I just feel like I'm doing the Cornerstone training
Mhm.
and but there's just so many suppliers. I guess my question is putting all these puzzle pieces together, you know,
Right.
looking at all these little pieces, where would you start? I kind of ventured into uh Travel Advisors, the Snap Cruising Complete, and that seemed really great.
Mhm.
A great place to kind of start getting quotes. My niche is more so cruising and all inclusives with a focus on like food. Um, and so that one, I was like, that seemed fantastic. But is there a different like portal or app that you would recommend? I really like the Consolidator website. I've done training through Virgin Voyages, Royal Caribbean. Um, that's kind of where I'm at so far. And also working through Cornerstone's training. But it's like putting all these little puzzle pieces together. So I'm just wondering, what is the but like where do you typically put a quote together?
So for me, I use a different CRM than Tess. Um, so, such as there's several out there. There's Turn, which is what I use. There's Travel Joy. There's Travify. You can
Mhm.
upgrade tests and be able to put together, I believe, quotes. Um, the suppliers in itself often have, uh, things that you can send to your customers. I do like Cruise Complete because you can put four itineraries together, kind of send that to your client and say, hey, which one do you like? Um, I use Cruise Complete strictly um, as a reference. Um, like if somebody came to me and said, hey, next March I want to go on a cruise and I want to go to Aruba, can you find one for me? Whether it's the cheapest or whatever you recommend. I go to Cruise Complete, put all those components into their search engine, and then it'll pull up, what cruise lines and ships go to Aruba in March. And then I'll filter it, see which is the cheapest for whatever category they want. And then, you can put that little quick quote together that they have, and you could send it to them and say, hey, which one do you like? And then I go to the suppliers and then get them accurate pricing. Um, you can do it through Cruise Complete, and sometimes you'll find some better deals in Cruise Complete, but a lot of times, um, Travel Leaders Network takes out cruise space on almost every cruise out there, so you can find uh, group rates in, some of the suppliers too.
Okay.
And I'd rather deal with the supplier directly because Cruise Complete is a third party.
Okay. So you're saying like look at all of them and then go book it on the actual cruise supplier.
I'm saying that's what I do.
Okay.
You can do whatever is best for you. Um, be, and I'm just giving you the reasons why I don't do it that way.
Mhm.
Because if I were to have an issue, I would have to call Cruise Complete and not the cruise line directly, and then Cruise Complete has to call the cruise line. So it's just eliminating a step.
I like it.
So for me, it's easier just to deal directly with the cruise line.
Perfect.
All right. Does
Thank
that
you.
answer your question? Because, like I said, I use Turn Travel.
Okay.
Um,
How much is that membership?
I'm going off the top of my head. It's probably the most expensive one. It's about $400 a year. But with that said, it's also the one that I know of that is constantly updating. They're constantly making it better. They actually have a system where you can go in and put a suggestion, and then it gets upvoted. And then if it gets the most upvotes, they actually will work on it. So they're constantly updating the system. They just did a huge overhaul of the system. They do overhaul about once a year, but every a couple months they implement something new. So to me, it's totally worth it.
Okay.
Um, but with that said, it was also the first one that I tried because of recommendations, and I fell in love with it, so I just stuck with it.
Okay. And then you just put everything else into tests.
Correct.
Okay. One other thing, for Cruise Complete, have you ever heard of anybody having issues actually logging into like Cruise Complete? So I know at the top where it says like where booking information or it won't allow me to like register or anything. Do you have to complete trainings before you have access to that?
No, so um, let me get in there and I'll share my screen. So you have to go through Agent Universe, which I think most of you know,
Hmm.
or if you're new, Agent Universe is the portal for Travel Leaders Network. And then over here on the right-hand side is your quick links. You should have Cruise Complete there.
So I have it, but it won't take me to. Will you click on it? Because mine says like page won't is not found or won't load or
So if that's the case, I would clear your cookies. Um, and if that doesn't work, try another browser.
okay.
Because one thing I found out, and this is good for new agents, is some TA portals don't work well with certain browsers. Like for me, like especially the Virgin one works best for me in Chrome. Um, I primarily use Firefox, but
Okay.
um, you have to play around with that. Clear your cookies, see if that works.
Okay.
If not, how new are you, Brittany?
Pretty new.
All right. If not, then you have to email Allison in the office and say, "Hey, I'm not getting access to Cruise Complete," because they actually have to turn that on in the office, for stuff that you have access to in Travel Leaders Network.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right. All right, Lisa, I know um before I get to you, Lisa, Penny, as far as Snap, I if you're having trouble with your tablet, you probably should try the computer, because it may not be optimized for tablets. All right, Lisa, your question I saw on Facebook, you have a group of 8 meeting. Um, you need 8 cabins. You're doing a mock booking through Expresso. It only puts 2 people in per cabin. That's correct. I will have a total of 24 counting children. When and how do you add others? And how do you quote without everyone accounted for? Okay, so you can form a group in Expresso. Okay. Um, the thing with Expresso and forming a group, it's based on double occupancy. So it'll only allow you to formally berth 2 guests per room into the group. However, you can book more outside of that group and then transfer them into the group um, because of that. Does that make sense to you, Lisa? Royal's the only one that does that, and I don't know why. The other thing you could do is you could actually just put people into the travel leaders network group if there's one available for them. So I want to spend some time on this. So let me know if that makes sense to you. And then if we need to spend time towards the end of the session, that would be the best time to do it because I want to make sure I answer everybody else's questions too before I dive into how to do groups on Royal. All right.
Hi, I had a quick question. The other two can kind of wait.
Okay.
So I can't, I don't have money to get physical business cards right now. As long as we had everything on there, including the Cornerstone logo and both the California and Florida numbers as needed, could we do something like a digital business card?
Sure.
Thank you.
So Lisa, if you lock in 8 cabins and I book everyone separately, then transfer them in. Yes. And again, unless you have 2 people, like I said, you're booking a couple into a group, you can put them straight into the group. But for some reason, Royal only allows you to book 2 people at a time into a group. It's goofy. I don't know why they do that. Okay. Gigi says I joined a few weeks ago and have been focused on doing all supplier trainings first. Do you recommend getting a travel agent software before officially launching? I want to make sure I have a secure way to get payments. Well, you can use uh, a jot form or in our Canva templates, there is a credit card authorization form. You can certainly use that because all that requests is the last 4 digits of the credit card number um, from the customer, and then you call them and then get the rest of their number uh, uh, over the phone. But if you want something more secure, I would recommend one of those others, CRMs. They offer that. It's definitely worth something. Definitely worth looking into. I know Travel Leaders Network gives a discount to. I can't remember if it's. I think it's Travify. Um, so you can look into that, and most of them allow you to do like a 14-day trial, so you could try them out too and see if that works for you. I know in the future there may be an upgrade to Turn that allows us to do that, not Turn Test that allows us to do that. Um, so that's just something to think about. Again, Test is our official CRM. I have to express that. Um, that's what we use to get paid, and you can use it to keep track of all your trips and such. A GCS GCS is like a direct connection to like the airlines and stuff. I don't know exactly. I mean, those are 2 different things. The CRM is basically a customer management system, where a GCS is a direct connection to the airlines and hotels and stuff, usually through the suppliers like Snap. Um, I think that's what you're talking about, right? Or maybe I'm getting it confused with what a GCS is. All right, which travel insurance do you prefer and which one is available for a year-round membership? Do they have training and which one covers medical costs. Well, the two suppliers we use is Chubb and Allianz. They both have year-long memberships, and they both have training available for you. So, and they all cover medical costs if you book within 14 days of your deposit. So in order to, well, no, let me go back. They do cover medical costs, but they cover pre-existing conditions if you book them within 14 days of deposit.
Okay, but how does that work if you have a year-round membership?
So year rounds, it's almost like an insurance plan or where you have a fixed you have a fixed deductible, right? So
Mhm.
let's say you get a $10,000 plan and you go on a $2,000 trip. Let's say you have to cancel that trip for whatever reason. If you cancel that trip, file a claim, and they give you that $2,000 back, now you only have $8,000 left for the rest of the year.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, right. So a lot of people do annual um, protections, but then if you have a trip, let's say you have a $10,000 plan, but your trip's going to cost $20,000. Um, let's say you're doing a big Europe trip or Alaska trip or whatever, then you would go in and get an additional plan just for that trip up, with $10,000 worth of coverage.
Gotcha.
And I did online training on Allianz. You look back to, I believe it was May 14th in the training calendar.
Okay.
Um, that was a pretty comprehensive training on Allianz.
I noticed travel agents were really pushing the travel insurance. Is that because we get a really nice commission? Or, I mean, obviously it makes sense to have insurance over anything, but what is that commission? What does it typically look like?
Um, I think, and I'm just basing on Allianz for their classic plan, I think pays 26%.
Okay.
So
That's
that's
pretty good.
it's pretty hefty.
Hmm.
Um, why you should push insurance? Well, for one, look what's happening to Jamaica right now.
Yep.
Um, they have a big storm coming in, and if you didn't have insurance, you basically lose your trip.
Hmm.
Now some of those suppliers will work with you to, possibly reschedule stuff. But if a person wanted to just cancel their trip, they would lose it. Now, I mentioned earlier, um, when we started that I broke my leg. I broke my leg a week before I was supposed to go to Universal for Halloween Horror Nights.
Mm.
The rest of my family went. I had gotten Allianz insurance. I filed a claim at 10 o'clock in the morning. I had money in my bank by the next morning. Um, that's how quickly Allianz worked, and I loved them for that. It was super easy. So, it's up to you to choose which insurance is best for your clients. But those are the two ones that we offer. And again, if I and I kn- I never used to get insurance, but you just never know what's going to happen. I have family members that did a Panama Canal cruise, um, and as right after they went through the Panama Canal, one of the family members got the flu bad enough that they had to get off the ship and be hospitalized. Um, and I think to get hospitalized, go down to the medical center, get hospitalized, fly back from Mexico to the United States. I think it cost like 30 grand, but it was all covered in insurance because they had insurance. So like you never know what's going to happen. And, for me, it's well worth it.
Thank you.
What's the best supplier for Universal? I need to do the training this week. Well, the official supplier for Universal is Vax Vacations. So you can get tickets through price agencies and maybe even Expedia. I can't remember. But the official training for Universal is through their partner website, and I will put that link into the chat so you guys know how to get there because it's not on their portal. All right. How you doing today, Jason?
Doing pretty good. Appreciate you taking the time today to chat with us. I'm just kind of tagging along, trying to pick up some stuff. I'm green here.
Awesome. There's a lot of information, and one thing I tell new agents is don't let it overwhelm you. Just take your time. I know for me, and it's the firefighter in me, I dove straight head first into it, and just soaked up everything. But I also had the time at that time to be able to do that. So may feel like you need to rush through things, but just whatever your niche is, start with your niche, work on a couple of suppliers, get consolidators in, because the consolidators will provide you with hotel, airfare, rental cars and stuff. And then just branch out from there. Get familiar with a couple suppliers, do mock bookings, so you're familiar with their uh, TA portals because each one is completely different. Um, and just take your time. Do I have any information about Sandals? I know they're revamping their program. So like you, I'm waiting to see what their new training is going to be. So you just have to be patient, Brittany. All right, what else do you guys have for me?
Hey, John.
Hi, Howard. How are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
Not too bad.
I have a question related to putting things into tests.
Okay.
So I'm booking for a client, a family cruise. They're going to have 4 cabins. Is that one trip in tests with all the cabins under it? Or is it 4 trips in tests, each with a cabin under it?
So you can do it either way. Um, since it's one family, I would just put them all together as one trip, but then you would do separate bookings for each cabin.
Right. I have so the bookings are done. Just wasn't sure how to put them into tests.
Yeah, you can do it either way. But like I said, since it's a family trip, just just so it's easier for you to keep track of it, you could all put it under one trip.
Okay. Because
I mean,
I was getting conflicting information.
well, that had gone back and forth a couple months ago, as far as like you should put, all individual bookings, in separately. But then we got the okay to be able to do that. Just make sure, like in your description, you put the supplier and the family's name or the person's name in there so that they can easily track your bookings through the description as well.
Which description are we talking about?
In the booking description. Here,
But-
I'll share my screen and show you what I
Okay.
have done. Um, It might take me a second to find my trip. Okay. So this is that Universal trip that I was talking about, that my family took. And here's all the bookings. So I put all the bookings under one tab. Um, and it wasn't just us that went. We had some friends that went. So like I'll here to the top, as you can see, I put Vax, Metzger, Hotel, and Pass.
Okay.
Okay. And then 2 power passes down here is when we got some season passes, and then a preferred season pass was right here. So those were all listed So what you want to do is similar to what I put up here, where I put, VAX, which is vacation, um, ex, um, Vacation Express,
Mm-hmm.
um, the client's name, and then what it was for. So, and then down here, Downie HHN package booking.
Right. Okay.
So it just helps cross-reference things. So when they go look, they could see, who it belongs to.
Okay.
But you can certainly put it all under one trip. Like I
Okay.
said, we had an issue with tests where we a couple months ago where we had to temporarily put it all in separately, but now since then we've gotten the okay to do it like I'm showing you now.
Okay. So if you go back, can you go back to trip information for a second? I just had a question there.
Uh-huh.
So on the bottom, it's trip description. So you don't have to put in add cruise or anything like that.
Well, I do, because then when you're searching for it, it will show you what that is
Well,
there.
no, I'm talking
Oh,
about,
down here.
yeah,
So this page is strictly for your reference, okay, as the travel agent. So
okay,
so you can keep track of, you know, basically on one click of what everything is. Now, I mentioned earlier that I use a different CRM, so I have all that information in that CRM, and I don't put it in the test. The only thing I put in the test, because I use a different system, is the bookings.
is the booking. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense. So the description in the booking, if I'm booking Royal, am I going to say Royal or Celebrity, or am I going to say Espresso?
I would use the supplier. So like if we use Espresso, right? But it's through Royal Caribbean that we're booking.
Okay, okay. Thank you. That answers a lot for me, because I've got
Because
like,
when you do a booking and you ask for the supplier, Espresso isn't an option.
okay, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that clears it a lot for me.
With that said, for you new folks, when you come in here, and I'm gonna try to get back into that trip that I was just in, if it lets me. Okay. When you come in here and you may add a hotel in here, and you may not find it because you can search for property name. Um, so um, we had stayed at Universal Endless Summer. So now this pops up, right? If for some reason your preferred hotel doesn't pop up here and you can't add something in here, you just come here to add activity, and now you can just add, let's put general information, and now you can add that in there. Okay. Because not, there's hundreds of thousands of hotels and cruises and all this other stuff. They may not be in the test, you know, ecosystem. So with that said, you just add activity, okay? And then you can put that in there. This is a question that gets asked on Facebook a ton. Conversely, in bookings, if you go to your bookings, and this is what I'm talking about, if I under tour operator, if I put espresso, it's not going to pop up, right? So this was booked through Universal, even though it was through VAX, it's through the Universal Parks. Because if I just put VAX, I don't think VAX is going to show up, right? No. Well, yeah, it does, but more specifically, you're using VAX, and then the subheader is going to be um, Universal or FunJet or Apple Vacations, because I can go in here and put Apple Vacations. I can put FunJet, right? And that's who the supplier actually is. It's just VAX Vacation Access is the supplier website where you find all those.
Okay.
Okay. If you do not find what you're looking for under tour operator, you just put other, and other will pop up. And then down in the description, you put down what supplier you used. And again, the last name of your client and what it was for. Okay. And again, that's under booking. Because again, we have access to thousands of suppliers. And again, not all of them may be in our test system yet. All right. Any more questions, Howard?
Yeah, follow up to that related to insurance.
Okay.
So one of the families on Royal, they're in 2 connecting cabins because it's 5 people, 2 adults, 3 kids. I can write them one policy to cover the total cost. I don't need to do it per cabin, right?
Right. As long as they're all traveling together, um, as a unit, as a family unit, you can do that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And then I did that. There's 12 of us going on a cruise with my family in January, and for 2 of the rooms, which includes my daughters, their boyfriends, and stuff. We have 2 rooms. I included all eight of us that are going to be in those rooms into one policy.
Allianz goes that high? Well,
It allows you to do, I think, up to 8 people in one policy.
I was thinking dollars, not people.
Well, you can. I mean, there's no limit range as far as dollars, but they do limit how many people can be under one policy.
I'm thinking annual. Annual, there's a cap. Yeah.
Uh, oh, so if you're thinking annual plans, that's tied to the individual.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Amaya says, I have finished the Carnival training and Academy training. How do I transfer a cruise from a customer booked direct with Carnival to myself? As long as it's within 90 days and they haven't made their final payment, you'll be able to transfer it. The customer has to call in the customer service um, and establish a PIN number. Then you, as the agent, calls into customer service, and you can do this. You could do a 3-way call and do this, which I find is probably the easiest. Do a 3-way call and do this. But if you have to do it separately, the customer has to call in, establish a PIN number, let them know that an agent they want an agent to take over your booking, and then you as agent call in. You have to have that PIN number, um, and give them all the information for you to take it over, which would be Cornerstone's information found on the supplier webpage.
Tagging up on that, is that like I've got 2 personal cruises that I have not paid the final deposits for. Is that possible for those? One in February and one in May of next year?
What cruise lines? And when
Carnival.
did you make the deposits?
Oh, they've been made for a while. Is it 90 days from the deposit date? Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So each cruise line has their own rules. No Royal and Celebrity, I think it's 30 days. Princess allows up to 60 days. Um, Virgin, I believe, is 60 days, maybe. Like I said, each cruise line has their rules on that. Some make it easier than others. So just to figure all that out. I know Royal, there's a form online that you just fill out and you can get it transferred over. All right, I know I booked cruises and Disney. I've got 3 families meeting in New York in July for the Les Mis's 40th anniversary. I have tickets, need hotels, flights, train tickets, and they want to stay 3 to 4 days and tour in New York. Is there one place that's better to piece it together or just play around on different ones? That's what the consolidators are for. I don't know what kind of train tickets you need, so that may be a little difficult to do. But Expedia Tap is a great one for most of that. You also have price agencies that does that. Okay, so there's a supplier called Rail Bookers. They're more of a high end booking, but you may be able to find Amtrak on there. We used to have direct access to Amtrak But their system for travel agents is a complete mess. I literally spent 3 months trying to get access to Amtrak and never got anywhere, so I gave up. So what I do now is I book directly through the Amtrak consumer site. You could choose just to charge your clients a booking fee for doing that one booking, but if I have other components, I usually don't worry about it. But that's the easiest way to book Amtrak, that I found, is to just do it directly from their consumer site. What about how to make a casino comp booking with Royal? I can't find the option on Expresso. Is there something I need to call to book? Yes. So most cruise lines use a third party for their casino bookings. You don't book them directly through the cruise line. So there's a third party they use. So you can't find them on Expresso. With that said, I'm gonna share with you the Royal Casino booking number, and I'm gonna put it in the chat here. And that's the Royal Casino Club booking, or whatever it's called. All right, Jennifer says she was able to do Amtrak through Rail Bookers. Good. I wasn't sure if you could do those individual trips through Rail Bookers or not. I haven't played around with it lately. Jennifer, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I called because I wasn't sure. Because really the only thing that I found online was the quote form. And so I wanted to make sure I wasn't like missing something. So I called in and I said, "Hey, can you walk me through how to book this?" And she was like, "Those usually aren't online, but we can book them for you over the phone." And I was like, "Okay." And so she just verified, like I gave her the CLIA number. She verified my,
Oh,
I think, email address and telephone number, maybe. And then put in my name and my information. She gave me all the options, pricing, went back, confirmed with my client, called her back, booked the trip. And there was, it's a 10% commission through Rail Bookers. So I was like, well, better than nothing.
there you go, Natasha. So you have to call Rail Bookers in order to do that. Like I said, it was frustrating for me because I was trying to get access to Amtrak, and I think their system was called Rail Agent, and I kept getting a runaround. I talked to Amtrak, and they said, "Well, you have to talk to Rail Agent," and Rail Agent was like, "Yeah, well, you have to call Amtrak," and they were saying, "Well, we put it in for you to get access, but I would never get an email." It was a mess, and finally, I just gave up because I wasn't the only one having those issues, and that's why you don't see them as an option in our suppliers anymore.
So going back to the deposits for like half a second, how does that work? Do we like put it in on our end or does our client put it in on their end?
Deposits and payments go through the travel agent always, unless there's an option for a payment, um, like a payment link. Carnival has payment links now. Virgin has payment links. Um, and it threw me off when Virgin switched over. I didn't realize they allowed that option, and all of a sudden I got an email saying, your payment has been made, and I was like, whoa, 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 what happened here? For somebody who did Virgin. Um, so those are the only two that I know that allow payments, not through the travel agent, but and I have a Carnival cruise coming up that's due their final payment, and I just sent out. You can send those payment links to them through Carnival, which
Okay.
I just did. And then the problem with that, I noticed with Carnival, you don't get an email saying that they made the payment, so you have to go in the system and make sure they made
Okay,
those
so
payments.
all the payments for certain cruises go through us. Ah,
Yes.
thank-
So, and it's not just cruises; it's all suppliers.
Okay, so thank you very much.
And that's why you need the credit card authorization forms. Anytime you make a payment, they need to fill out a new form. And the whole reason behind those credit card authorizations is one, you're going to be using the client's credit card number, right? It's proof that they gave you permission to do so, because believe it or not, there's people that go on their trip and then 2 months later contact their credit card companies and said that they never authorized um, the travel agent to go on it to pay for that trip. So then the credit card company comes after the travel agents and says, they say you weren't authorized to use their credit card. Do you have proof that they authorized that?
That's why I'm going to keep 3 copies. I'm going to send one to the client, keep one in my email, and have a printed one.
So with that, it's important that you keep all communication, especially when it comes to payment, keep a record of that communication just in case that does happen.
Okay, so that leads into a question I had a while ago. Are we allowed to record phone calls? Like, let's say we're on the phone and they go, I'm authorizing this as they're filling that out, or like, because I have a business email, I have everything backed up to, and I'm gonna back everything up to a flash drive. But are we allowed to record our phone calls? So like, if they say, "Hey, I never said that," it's like a paper trail almost.
That's subject to whatever your state laws are
Okay.
when it comes to recording. Most of the time, as far as I know, as long as you let them know that they're on a recorded line, that it is allowable.
Okay.
Okay. That's why when you call in a credit card companies, they will say, um, you know, you are on a recorded line. You usually get that automated message. Welcome, Justin. Hey, how are you? Got a lot of questions today, so it's good. Any more questions? Because if not, I'm going to dive into Lisa's question from the beginning about groups. Lisa had a question about royal groups and the whole double occupancy thing, Justin, which is funny because Justin and I hopped on Justin's booking Q&A last Thursday, and he had basically the same question, and then we started going over it. So we will do that. I will do that here shortly. Bye, Shauna. Take care. Bye, Penny. I know we're getting short on time, so that's why I want to hop in here and cover it. So let me get logged into Espresso. All right, so I just clicked on that icon in the left-hand corner. If you want to start a group, you're going to start a group here. You're going to put your group name in here. Let's just say Cornerstone Test Group. You're going to put what type of group it is. For most cases, it's going to be an affinity group and the policy type. It's important that you learn about this. So no deposit groups hold 8 to 16 guarantees and do not require initial deposit. Okay. The problem with that is you don't get any gap points for that, which means you won't be able to offer any amenities when you do a no deposit. That's a royal policy. Okay. Deposit groups can hold 8 to 50 guarantees and require initial deposit of $50 per guarantee to be paid within 30 days of the group creation. So let's say you have a group for next year and you don't know how many people you're going to have coming. This is where it gets a little dicey because you need to have at least eight rooms with that $50 guarantee paid in order to get those amenities. Okay. So that's just something to think about. All right. So we're going to say we're going to do a deposit group, and now we're going to pick a cruise. And I'm just going to pick a ship here. We're going to do, where's the icon? We'll do the icon, and we'll pick a random date for sometime late next year. And then we'll hit search. So it's going to search those cruises. Okay, it found a cruise on that date. Now we're going to go in here and we're going to see what's available. Unfortunately for this cruise, there's only one category available. So this is where you'd pick how many allotments that you want for your group. So I'm going to go back, or let's see if there's another group with anything more. Here's a couple more. Okay, so I'm going to go in here. Let's say I pick 4 interiors. I'm going to do 4 ocean. Let's do 6 ocean view balconies. All right. You always want to pick more than you think that you'll use, just in case. And now we're going to add those into our inventory or allotments. And so this will be our allotments. We have 10 added, and we can do up to 50. Okay. And now I proceed to group details. Again, do you want your group to be seated together at the 5 p.m.? You'd fill in these details here. You fill in if you want to allocate for air. And now, once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and review and book. All right. Now, once you do that, again, you'll have 30 days to get $50 deposits on those groups. Justin, if you can monitor the chat while I'm doing this. All right. Conversely, now, as I had mentioned earlier, I had 10 rooms available. It will only allow you to put 2 people into each room in that group. However, if you wanted to book an individual, like I must start an individual reservation and transfer them into the group, I'm going to come here, look up the icon again. That was for August.
August
What's
8th.
that? Yep. August of the next year. And it was a 7-day cruise. And I'm going to come down here. We're going to put 4 people in that room. Say they're over 55. And I'm just going to pick a random state here and search. You may or may, if you already have a group, it may or may be a show up here in the header. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've done a royal group. But this is the Travel Leaders Network. Travel Leaders Network takes up group space that we are allowed to book into, and their amenity is $50 onboard credit. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to cover kind of 2 topics right here. As I go down, you can see like right here, the Affinity Central Park balcony. Anything on that's left-hand column, that's going to be the current best promotion through Royal. Over here on the right-hand side is going to be the group rates. As you can see, the group rates are more expensive right now than the promo rates. As you get closer to the cruise, this will flip-flop, usually. All right. So what I would do is I would book them with the current promotion, which will be $6,000. And then I would go through and go ahead and book them into it. Okay. Once I have them booked, and I use this as an example, you're going to go into the booking, and for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go into my own booking here that I have on Utopia in January. Because I wouldn't be able to demonstrate this if I didn't. Of course, it's used. So I'm going to go into. All right. So here's another booking. This left-hand side column in the gray, you can do a lot of different things. You can come back here once in a while, hit promotion to see if there's another promotion that and reprice your cruise. You can add insurance and gratuities, any special services you would need. You can cross-reference. However, if you have a group, they're already going to automatically be cross-referenced. You can find flights if they need flights, hotels. You can use the cruise planner and make payments and so on and so forth. But most importantly, under manage here, there's going to be a link here that says transfer to group. So if you have a group or you want to transfer them into the Travel Leaders Network group, you would come here, hit transfer to group. Then on the next page, you'll get an option of which group to transfer it into. So whether it's the Travel Leaders Network group or your own group, and then you would transfer into that group. There may be some warnings that you get. I know when I transfer people into the Travel Leaders Network group, it actually will take out gratuities and then add them back in once they're into the group, because group gratuities are slightly different than regular gratuities. All right. So this is how you would transfer somebody into your group, whether it's Travel Leaders Network or a group that you found. You would come to this manage section. And again, groups on Royal only allow you to actually put 2 people into that group at a time. Into your allotments, I should say, which is what makes sense. Lisa, I hope that helps you. Lisa, if you have any more questions, I believe there has been some trainings from our BDM on how to do groups. Go back to our replay list and look through the trainings and figure that out.
I think the Wave Makers training tonight with Leslie is also groups. I believe she mentioned that.
Perfect, and it's one that I might join in just to get a little refresher on that.
I believe it is. Don't hold me to it, but I think that's what she said at our last Wave Makers. So that would be a good opportunity to attend, everybody.
We'll just all call you a liar if it's not true. No. All right, folks, we're getting down to the time limit here. So if anybody, does anybody have any other questions? Do we have to be part of Waymakers? No, absolutely not. The group trainings are open to everybody. I do recommend joining Wavemakers, whether you start now. Wavemakers is a 1-year program. So whether you start now and start working on it, or you wait till January where we start over, it's up to you. If you were to start now, you can finish Wavemakers sooner than if you were to start in January, because January is going to be a live sessions. And they're down into 4 quarters, and then you just do a quarter at a time. Whereas if you start it now, you can bust through those quarters that we did in 2025 and get it done. It should take you a couple months to get Wave Makers done if you do it that way, versus, and if you have the time to sit down and actually do it, like I said, it could take you a couple months versus taking, 9, 10, 11 months to do when we start back in January. But you guys are welcome to go look at the replays, go get into all the trainings, come to these trainings. Jennifer's here all the time. Howard's been in several of the Q&As. Penny, who was in here earlier, um, Vicky, who was in here earlier, they come to a lot of these, and it's strictly just to come in here and listen and to see what you can learn. There's so much information you can learn from these trainings, and what's great about Cornerstone is we're one of the only host agencies that hosts training like this. So with that said, we do recommend getting at least one training a week. We do hold a lot of these group Q&As. So, it's great. And like Justin pointed out, anything listed on the training calendar is open to everybody. I have to mention tomorrow, it was posted in Facebook at 11 a.m. Not tomorrow, Thursday. There is a lunch and learn that the office is doing in Galveston. Monica and Neil Best are our top earner agents. They are from Scotland. So they run their agency from Scotland and they absolutely kill it. They're going to be in Galveston and stopping by the office and doing a training. The corporate office has graciously decided to put it on Zoom. It does cost $20 to become a part of that training, but you'll want to be there because Neil and Monica are awesome. They're going to give us insights on how they became successful with their business. Because they joined with Amy when Amy started almost 2 years ago. And like I said, they are our top earners. They absolutely kill it. They do hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions. I want to say hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they do very well with their commissions, and they're going to share, their secrets with us. So it's definitely something I recommend you guys looking into if you can join. The links for that are on the Facebook group, and you just fill out a little job form, put in your payment information, and then you'll get sent the link to the Zoom. Before we go, I'm gonna see if I can find that link for you guys real quick. I'm just gonna confirm that this is the right link. Yep, okay. All right, there you folks go. Go ahead, pull that up if you want to join us on Thursday. With that said, the new agent onboarding will not occur on Thursday morning because of the lunch and learn that we will be doing. So disregard that on the calendar. If you are new and wanted to attend the new agent onboarding, you'll have to wait till next week.
Hey, Johnny, do you know how long that is planning to be? I'm just trying to work it into my calendar, but I've got to make sure that
It's gonna be probably similar to this format, probably an
Okay.
hour. It could
Okay.
maybe run over, but I imagine it'll be somewhere in that hour time frame.
Okay. I might be in the car, so I have to figure out if I'm
Okay,
gonna do it from my computer or my phone. So, okay, thanks.
no problem. All right, everybody. It is the end of a good session. I appreciate everybody showing up today. I absolutely love doing these. The next Q&A will be tonight. I'm not sure who's doing it. There is a Wave Makers tonight as well, I believe. And then Thursday night, I will be doing the booking Q&A, which is more geared towards, booking things. Again, it's similar to this format, but we try to concentrate more on how to book things. So with that said, everybody have a great day. We'll see you around, and take care.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.